Hey friends, David D. Thanks for coming back to PRM. So Beto was out campaigning, and he was at a college, it looked like a college auditorium, and he was taking questions, and he got a question from this really bold young woman, and she grilled him with two questions. The first one being, when will you release the donor data for the 6.1 million that he's being secretive with? Okay, that was part one. The other part two was really funny. Is she said, when are you going to come up with a policy position? She's like, all we hear from you is platitudes and nice stories. We want a policy position. And then that caught him off guard. The whole crowd was roaring too, and just his physical language looked really ill for a second there because he got called out in public for two major things that, he's guilty of. He's guilty of not having policy positions, and he's guilty of not disclosing where the $6.1 million came from. And so he addressed the first question: where did the money come from? Who are the donors? How much were the individual donations? And, he just said one sentence. He's like, we're going to release the data. And then on to your second question. He just wanted to get past that question. He did not like that was asked. So, once again, Beto's being shady about the 6.1 million. That came out of nowhere. We know his campaign wasn't drawing crap. He wasn't barely polling at 5%. And all of a sudden, the heavens open. Manna from heaven. $6.1 million in Beto's lap in 24 hours. Very strange, very odd. But he didn't want to address it, and he said one sentence and said, we will be releasing the data. Okay. And then he goes right to her second question was about policy. And he actually did give something substantive. He actually had a position on universal pre-K. So I totally agree with that. I think that's a good position. He's also pro-marijuana. I don't know if he said recreation, but he said he's pro-marijuana legalization. I don't know if he was talking medical or recreational, but he's pro-marijuana legalization and pro-expungement of criminal records that are affiliated with marijuana arrests. So those are actually pretty good. But then he just tanked on something. I've never heard of this. Medicare for America. Oh, Beto, you can't stop. Oh my God, he just can't stop tripping over himself here. Medicare for America. So he's not for Medicare for all. As we all know, 3/4 of Americans are for Medicare for all. Even half of the Republicans are for Medicare for all. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculously overwhelming. But, Beto speaks for the establishment. He speaks for the status quo. He speaks for big business. He's bought by big corporations and big business. Even though he says he doesn't take back money, get out of here, man. This guy is shady as all hell. But he said there's something he's signing on for called Medicare for America. And it's basically, if you like your work insurance, your private health care insurance, you can keep it, or you can opt into something called Medicare for America. And then instantly he started downplaying. He said it's a lot of money, it'll cost trillions and trillions of dollars, and just basically saying yeah, you don't want to. It was almost like he was implying, you don't want to do Medicare for America, but that's what I'm going to give you. It's just a joke, and this should kill his campaign right there. This will kill momentum going forward when we know that Medicare for all is the litmus test going forward. And, he's just shooting himself in the foot here. This is just kind of ridiculous. Medicare for America, get real, man. You got some balls, okay? Beto's got some real cojones to offer something called Medicare for America when 3/4 of the country wants Medicare for all. But like I said, he speaks for corporations. He speaks for the status quo. By him offering Medicare for America is basically the status quo and the establishment speaking through him. Those aren't his words. He's just a conduit for the status quo. So make sure you know that because he is bought, and he's going to make it seem like he's a grassroots guy, and he's not. Beto O'Rourke is not a grassroots candidate. Maybe with Ted Cruz during the Senate race, he had a lot of grassroots support. He had a lot of worldwide support. We all wanted Ted Cruz to go down. But that went to Beto's head, and it's just ridiculous. And he thinks he's going to get away with this stuff, and he's not. So, Medicare for America, yeah, no thanks.